and welcome to my humble abode, aka my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making Jardaloo Ma Gosht. Now I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's an Indian dish of lamb with apricots, and obviously you're going to need some lamb. Here I have 600 grams of lamb. Now I did ask the butchers, that I wanted 600 grams of lamb off the bone, but I think in his haste to get me out of the shop, he actually put some with the bones in, and they weren't chopped to what I required, which was about 2-inch pieces. So I had to do it myself. So that's our lamb, nicely washed and cleaned. Now let's start this dish. I'm just adding on a nice warm pan on a low medium heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're now going to add 1.5 onions, finely sliced, and I mean finely sliced. And just give that a stir. Now, what we need to do on a low medium heat, we need to brown these onions. So these is going to have kind of like a slow cook for about 5 minutes. While that's cooking, I've put in this little bowl 12 apricots with some hot water, and I've just covered it. Now I'm just going to leave that for the duration of the cooking of the lamb, and hopefully by then it will nicely plumped up, and we're going to put those near towards the end of the cooking. In fact, these onions took about 7 minutes for them to come to this stage, but you really do want them to come just so that they have a nice golden brown colour but not crispy. So our onions are ready to receive our garlic and ginger. So here I have 3 cloves of garlic, finely minced, and 1 2-centimetre square, if you can call it square, of ginger, which I've minced. So that's going to go in, and I'm frying this literally just for a minute. Now we can add the lamb. And this lamb doesn't need to be seasoned or anything like that at this stage, because we're going to do this shortly. And it's going to cook for an hour and to an hour and a half. So that's the lamb in. Now for the herbs and seasonings. 1/4 teaspoon of dried turmeric powder, 1/2 teaspoon of dried chilies, 3/4 teaspoon of cumin, so that's 1/2 and 1/4. 1 large chilli, and this is slightly hot, which I've cut into slivers. Here I have about 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped coriander. Now this recipe actually calls for the coriander to be put in at the end of the cooking process, but I'm going to put some in now and some in at the end. So all we now need to do is give this a nice mix and make sure that all our meat is brown. I say brown, but actually you want the meat just to seal, and if it does take a little bit of colour, it's a bonus, but it shouldn't take no more than about 5 minutes to get that done. I'm now going to add just 1/2 teaspoon of seasonal, just to give a little bit of salt in the dish. Give that a little stir. See, the onions and the meat juices is already forming a little gravy. Ooh. I've already boiled some water, So over it goes. Give that a little mix. And I'm going to bring this to a boil and then turn it down, leave it for an hour on a low heat to cook, and then finish off the dish. Silly me, I forgot our cinnamon bark. You're going to need about this much of a cinnamon. If you like it very cinnamony, then put a little bit more. Wow. Can't believe I did that. Right. Now I can turn the fire down to low and let that cook for an hour. See that? Nice. This has been now an hour. Nice. But I have to say it's got a bit too much liquid. That's because of the lid that I have with this. So what I'm going to do is put this on the back burner, which I had it before. I'm going to turn the fire higher. And I'm going to leave that to boil down just until I see the liquid is just under the meat. And while that's happening, we need to caramelize 1 tablespoon of dark brown sugar. Fire on, and 1 tablespoon. Oops. If you don't have dark brown sugar, you can use granulated or caster sugar. And we are literally just going to put the fire up just a little bit more and wait until that liquefies. Wow. Just leave it on its own. Just give it a little help, but don't stir it or anything like that. Just leave that, and yeah, it will turn into a nice liquid all by itself. Right. Once you see it goes like this, just leave it for another 30 seconds, because we want this to be a nice dark colour. So you can now give it a little mix, and you really want that to be, as I said, a nice dark colour. I'm just gathering as much as I can to the bottom of this pan, and now we're just going to simply add it to the lamb. Nice. Quickly give that a mix, and that's going to darken the sauce. Ooh, lovely, 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 lovely. Here I have 2 medium tomatoes. Now I must admit I had 2 small tomatoes, yeah, so what I did was I got 4 small plum tomatoes and added it, so that is actually 2 worths of medium tomatoes chopped. That goes in. Also, the reason why I wanted to reduce that water or sauce is because we're going to be adding in our apricot with its juice or liquor now. And now we're simply going to stir this. Oops, let's turn the fire higher. When that comes up to a boil, again, I'm going to put the lid on, stick it on the back burner, and going to cook it for another half an hour. I had a little tea break just now. I decided to freshen myself up. Right, that lamb, I've left it on a low medium heat because I want that gravy to reduce so that it's nice and thick. That was looking a bit watery. Anywho, this lamb is normally served with nice crispy fries on the top as a garnish. So I have my trusted little frying pan, or yeah, I'll call it a frying pan, it's actually a milk pan, and I'm just going to add some oil to that. Oops. I'm going to then leave it to heat up properly and julienne that potato, if I haven't shown it to you yet. One potato. I'm using one of these gadgets to help me julienne, but you really do need these to be finely julienned, so this is going to do the trick. So I'm just going to pass this over the potato, and it's a tomato then, potato, into these kind of strips. Really nice thin strips. I should have done this over a clean tea towel, because now what you need to do is pat dry these. What you'll need to do is make sure that you put them in a little at a time. Turn the fire down so that you don't burn your hands, because these potatoes, they've got a lot of starch in them, and when they hit the hot oil, that oil could rise. So just put a little at a time to make sure that the oil doesn't go all the way over your cooker. Just give that a little nudge and just leave it to fry as it is. Now these are going to stick together, but don't worry about that, because it'll be easier for you to then turn them round. So it's stopped bubbling, so that is actually ready. Give it a couple of seconds. Right, as you can see, I'm taking these out into one massive flat, thing. Yeah, don't worry about that, because what we need to now do is to let that cool, and then all you're going to do is literally just take it and just crumble it over our lamb. Woohoo. Look at that. I am so glad that I actually turned up the fire to a low medium to boil that out, because look at that. Ooh, look, there's even enough gravy for the hubby. And ooh, yes, that looks good. Now all I'm going to do is put that in a serving dish and leave it for 10 minutes, because you need the meat to rest, and then it's ready to eat. Ooh. Right, so I'm just using a little tiny saucer just to show you how to assemble this. So a little bit of lamb, our apricot. Ooh, nice. Ooh. Yeah, just top that with a little bit of coriander. Let's close that. And you're wondering what happened to the potatoes. Here they are. Yeah, some of them came out a bit overdone, and some of them came out really nice and light brown. So I'm going to use the light brown ones, and they'll come out like this when it's cooked. All you need to do is just break it and just take a few of those, crush it like that, and just literally just pile it on top of your lamb. As I said, this is a mini version just for demonstration purposes. Voila! Look at that! Ooh, look at that! That is all mine. Well, and half of it, because I'm going to eat quite a lot of this. Let's taste this. Oh. Oh my god, that is good. That is, sorry. That is really good. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that the apricots was gonna make the dish really sweet. But believe you me, it doesn't, because it counterbalances the chilies and all the other, what I term as harsh spices. Oh my god, that is good. That is so good. And those crispy potatoes that we've made. That is one serious dish. That is really, really good. I made some naan breads. I'm gonna dip it in this and see what it tastes like too. Oh dear Lord, 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 you lot must be jealous. Yum. That's it. I have to go. And here we have it. My Jardaloo Ma Gosht, if I pronounce it correctly. Lamb with apricots. Beautiful Indian dish. Got to try it. Until the next time, peeps. See ya.